We are live. Peace and Black Power family. Welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio, a place where knowledge is born. This is your host, Knowledge Born Alive, and we are here with a dedicated series for this upcoming celebration, 100 years of the Whirlwind, 3-day celebration broadcasting here in multiple places from the 14th to the 16th of Black August. And we have one of our foremost premier scholars, this African warrior, does not play no games whatsoever. Make it plain, very unapologetic, a hero of mine and a hero of many who will tune into this broadcast. So it becomes an honor and privilege at this time to introduce some, present to others. And welcome to this platform, Dudenaz Radio, our Queen Mother, Dr. Iya Adjua. Welcome to the show.
What's up, brother? How are you today?
I'm good. Working on my tan. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's always a good thing to do. That's right.
My old folks told me they said the blacker the berry, the blacker the power, or something like that. I think that's what they were
That's
saying
right.
when I was coming out. That's what I got from them.
Always good to
How about
have that.
yourself? How you feeling today?
I'm good. I'm excited. I'm good. Yeah. Always good to build with family.
Right, right. Well, we ain't got to check each other's politics. That's a better blessing right there. Just sit with somebody.
Right.
You ain't got to worry about what they're gonna say next. Like, oh man,
Right.
I would have bet the farm on you, and then you said that BS right there. Now I got to move on. Find somebody else. Find another African out here. So yeah. So for those people who might just be tuning in, they may not be familiar with you. We give a little introduction and we get into, you know, why we're here.
Okay. So I'm born, raised, and educated from kindergarten to the PhD in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I hail here by way of Sumter, South Carolina, Albany, Georgia, and Trenton, New Jersey. I'm so honored and thankful to call and connect with 5 generations on my maternal side and 9 generations on my paternal side. So I'm very clear that I walk with a lot of family and ancestors all the time. And I've known since I was a young person that I've been here before. So I definitely relate to being an ancestor returned. So, and I've taught for, I'm still teaching, but I taught for 2 decades in Philadelphia school system and in a charter school here in Philadelphia, Imhotep Charter High School. And I teach from time to time at Temple University. So I'm a scholar. I consider myself a scholar activist, a cultural rebel, and rabble rouser, and advocate for African people uh, the world over.
So, what was it about your particular upbringing or lifestyle that kind of got you culturally oriented? There's a lot of things going on, especially a lot of things going on in Philly where you could have been any which way, So, what led you to this particular path?
Right. So Philly, let me give a shout out to Philly. First of all, on a move, we are the second place and time in this country where a bomb was dropped on African people. Everybody know about 1921 Tulsa, Oklahoma, but we have to remember 1985. The Move family it was a bomb dropped on the Move family here in Philadelphia. Unfortunately, sanctioned by the black mayor at that time, and we are all survivors of that. But we always send our strength and love and power to the Move family that are that are also survivors. of the second bomb drop in this country on African people. Also, so in my background as well, I was my not Christian, not Muslim. My grandfather was, and my grandmother were Moorish American. And so when when I was coming up, we didn't do all of the holidays, you know. And then as soon as I got a chance, I stopped all of the ones that we were doing that was not of cultural significance to me in terms of me identifying as an African person. So I am also I'm the second person in my family to earn a college degree. I don't know how great that is. You know, depends on what you do with it, you know. And so I'm so happy and thankful that I've been able to share with a lot of young Africans and help and guide them, you know, along the way to understanding their who they are and who they can be as survivors of African people and continuing African legacies.
What is that? What is
What are
that kind
African?
of shift? That kind of shift in thought that takes place in the re-Africanizing of our youth. You know, what are some of the things that you found over, you know, your educational journey with working with our people and their families? Because you can't just work with the children. It's the re-Africanization of, you know, the community as a whole. What are some of your largest takeaways and experiences based off of that cultural reintegration? That's the only word I could use that's fitting.
Right,
Fitting. The only time I'll ever use that. You understand what I'm saying? Uh,
right.
with our people in the mother continent.
Well, uh, just for me, for instance, you know, I always talk about African time, thinking and existing in African time. And so one of the challenges I would do with my students is talk about how, you know, that our ancestors did not exist in, in a Gregorian calendar sense. And so I introduced them to the African calendar. Shout out to uh, Jedi Shemsu Jehudi, Jacob Carruthers, because their book, Intellectual Warfare, that's the power right there. That book, that's a holy book for me, you know. So one of the things I would challenge my students with is, you know, when they came in class first, they had, you know, they had an African name. They had to use had their papers in African dates and times, and of course I taught them that, and that's also in the appendices of my book, Acclaim. And so um, the re-Africanization process can involve many things. And as educators and parents, you know, that's something that we have to become ourselves, because our children are genius. And if they can see when you're trying to play them, so to speak, you know, so if you tell them one thing and you're doing another, like that's a problem. And so they will call you on it, you know, even though they might not know all of the information that you're sharing with them, or they have not walked, you know, in your shoes, walked in your path, you know, they know when you are not sincere, not being sincere with them. And so I think the first part of the re-Africanization process is to re-Africanize yourself, or already, you know, be existing and not in terms of identifying as an African person. And you have to be able to tell your children why. Like why is it, you know, why are things this way? I've raised my children, we didn't celebrate the holidays, and I know a big one for them was Halloween. And because you know they wanted the candy, so I was like, well, you know, we can get candy from anywhere and at any time. So, you know, but no, that's not what we do. we're not doing that, and that's not what we do. So my children, I raised them up to they celebrated Kwanzaa, not Christmas. We didn't do misgiving. We didn't do that. And so it was just always different. It was easy for me to be different with them because it was different for me when I was coming up. So, you know, you you pass on your traditions. And I know one aspect of my book Acclaim that I wanted to expand on was the African spirituality piece. And we in a spiritual war right now. We've been in a spiritual war for a long time. And so but it's just that right now a lot more of us can see it because of the outcomes and different things that continue to happen to us because we are disconnected from our ancestors in terms of uh, being so-called American citizens or people, citizens of whatever country we tend to exist in, which is worldwide, by the way. We're all over the world. So that alone is enough to, I think, for parents first, because parents are the first teachers, for parents to teach their children how to come into spiritual alignment. But first, the parents have to be there. They have to be spiritually aligned, with their African ancestors themselves. And I know another thing that I would do with my students was to ask them how did they come here. You see how I identified myself. I'm in Philadelphia by way of Sumter, South Carolina, Albany, Georgia, and Trenton, New Jersey. So like I know the travels and journeys of my ancestors, and a lot of people don't know that, and they don't. I don't know why they don't know it, but probably because I'm thinking family stories are not being as shared as they once were, and it's very important to share, family stories because that's also your story. Your family story. That's also your story. So in the claim, I do talk about on page 111. I do talk about what is African spirituality. I'm gonna just read this little piece, and it says, I define it as a connective ball of energy that illuminates us African people with the knowledge and wisdom of our ancestors, while simultaneously comprehending the darkness or unseen as a part of the entire human experience. And so, we tend to exist in a place that is, you know, visually controlled by people that are not us. And so, they pretty much tell us everything, and a lot of us just go for it, whatever, go along to get along. And but really, we should be doing the exact opposite. We should be questioning and, countering things that are not good for us, and to not be connected to our ancestors. That's not good for us. I was listening to Wade Nobles on the African History Network show earlier this week, and he talked about 4 things that we needed to do. He said we need to restore, we need to rescue, we need to reignite, and we need to reclaim. And he said we need to do all of that so that we can continue to bring the blackness out of us, like not to leave us, but to just be who we are as Black people, as African people. He said that we need to restore our spiritual traditions. We need traditional healing. We need to comprehend the science of the spirit. And in rescuing ourselves, we need to restore wellness in our families and communities. Um, and in reigniting ourselves, we need light and love in our realities. We need to restore our saku, or our illumination, and our Zola, or our love, that ignites ourselves and our healing potential. He also said we need to reclaim our eldership and our wisdom. So in addition to all of the work that we have to do, because that's just our life, like we have a lot to do. We are the world's original people. So we always have a lot to do. It's not, we're just not gonna like just ride by. It's not gonna happen for us, because we have a lot to do. The earth, Sasi Yadura, is a lot to take care of. She's a lot. So when I heard him talking about that earlier, I was just thinking, oh, that's so powerful. Because I think, first of all, number one, let's realize that in addition to a physical war, because African people are still being lynched across the country. That our children are being kidnapped and sold as sex slaves, and they're being murdered and eaten. It's just all kind of just wild, crazy stuff going on in different parts of the world to African people, and it's always African people. And I know sometimes people say, "Oh, well, that's happening to other people too." Okay, so I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about African people, right? So I'm talking about African people, and so what should we do about that? We can't. We can fight. It's not like we don't know how to throw them hands, and I don't mean that literally. I'm saying we know what we need to do to um, to continue to thrive and survive in these various Yorugu hinterlands that we exist in. And so, let's do that. Let's come together. Let's build. Let's continue African legacies. Let's do what Nyame Wa Nyame sent us here to do. Like fulfill your journey. What were you sent here to do? Fulfill it. Find out what it is and fulfill it. One of the ways you can find out what your journey is to connect with your ancestors. And when we're talking about our children, that's something that you need to do right now. If you're not already doing it, you need to learn about it and do it right now, and teach your children that it's okay to have an altar in the house. It's okay to have your ancestors' pictures of them around the house, pictures on the table with a candle and water. That's okay. That's and so what if people call it voodoo? Voodoo was one of the first spiritual practices in the world. You should be honored to be able to, still practice in the traditions of our ancestors. That's an honor, that, and that also is testament to our longevity as a people and how we continue to exist and be, because we are beings, and so we should be. So that's one of the ways to start. And I think that before that, though, there's conversations that need to be had, and those conversations that need to be about your family's our story. Talk about your ancestors and your elders. And I know a lot of African people were lynched and are still being lynched like worldwide, but we got to tell those stories too. And I know that there's something called Ignaton's Law, which talks about how how you don't talk about the bad things that happen, in your family existence. But I think one of the ways to counter that, or to bring balance to that, is to provide solutions. You know, uh, tell the story of the person that you know might have had become befall a mishap, or had a bad experience in their life, or they were wrongfully taken out of their life. But be able to counter that and connect the child to that by saying, okay, well, yes, this happened to this family member, and you are here. So now you are here. So now you know their story. Tell their story and speak their name. Remember their story so that they can, continue to live on, forever. And so that's what we do, because we're all ancestors reborn. And so parents understanding that concept, and then being able to assist their children in learning about that, comprehending that. Is, of course, it's very helpful, it's very advantageous, it's powerful, it strengthens them, and it strengthens you, and it strengthens the relationship between you and your child or children. As, more Africans the better, you know. So I want to share right now a little bit too about what Marimba Ani talks about, and she talks about spirituality, and she says that it is the African belief that we are our ancestors reborn, and through spiritual rebirth we gain eternal life. It is the African belief that we chose to be born when we are in the spirit world, and that we make a contract to fulfill a purpose in this life. Our purpose on this earth is to avenge our ancestors and to achieve the victory. African sovereignty through a Pan-African world order based on the principles of Ma'at, and I'm gonna add Ma'at, because there are no deities or gods that African people pray to that do not exist in both male and female form together. Okay. And it is our choice to fulfill the premise to our ancestors by achieving the victory denied them. So yes, we have all of these horrible things and that happen to African people, and there are some good things and powerful things that happen to African people as well. And so we have to be able to balance those stories, so that we're not beating down our children in terms of comprehending who they are and instilling fear in them, because we want to raise warriors. Like, we need warriors, and for them to continue on African legacies, they're going to have to fight, and the sooner that they know that they're going to have to fight, the better. And so no one else should be telling them who they are, where they're going, or who they belong to. None of that, because that should already be a part of their comprehension, coming first from their parents, whether they have one or two, or coming first from their parents, and being reinforced, by their additional family members, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, so that our children always comprehend and know that they are not only loved, and that they exist in power and strength in numbers. So it's good that we do that, and I think that spiritual connection also helps our youth to comprehend when they're in dangerous situations, and so that they can get out of them, possibly before something jumps off, because they have that intuition, that inner spirit that's telling them, look, this is dangerous, move, or go another way, or just wait right here 1 second, wait a couple minutes, or something. We need all of the help we can get so that we can maintain our lives, and, like I said, continue to thrive and survive in these Yoruba hinterlands in which we find ourselves these days.
I agree wholeheartedly. One thing that kept me sustaining is reflecting on my ancestral journey and story. That's one thing that my
Yeah,
mother shared with us. Our names, our name stories, the reason why we have our names, our birth stories, and our family stories. I was always intrigued in the African women and African men that I descend from.
Yes.
Always inquisitive about it. People didn't want my brothers and sisters. They may not want to hear about it, but you have to know your birth story. Like my birth story affirms the path that I'm on. I have
Mm-hmm.
6 brothers and sisters, 3 older and 3 younger. No
Okay.
birth experience was like this for me ever. Like unlike anybody else in my family. You see what I'm saying? Like, you get into that little modality. I'm a middle child. You see what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
you like, why can't I just be like everybody else? No, you were
Mm-hmm.
not even incarnated into this physical realm like anybody else in your family. And this is why they look to you in a certain kind of way. You see what I'm saying? Like the only people I
Right.
ever wanted to fit in with was my family. I could care less about anybody else out there. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
like I
Right.
learned to love this mission of loving African people and fighting for African people from my family. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So learning from my family history and then, encyclopedias and black books and things like that, learning about the extended African family. So,
Yes.
learning about, the greats. But my mother was great, and so was my grandmother, and so was my great grandmother. My father was great, and so was my grandfather and great grandfather. You see what I'm saying? So learning those stories, and then learning about my aunts and my uncles, and seeing my brothers and sisters. Knowing that you come from greatness and indiscriminate to where you were located. You see what I'm saying? Like my
Mm-hmm.
family came from Marion, South Carolina, to Jersey
Mm-hmm.
City, and Newark, New Jersey, things like that. You see what I'm saying? So knowing that trek from the Gullah Geechee to you know Jersey City and Newark, New Jersey. You see what I'm
Yes.
saying? So the
Yes.
the things that was set into motion for them and the reason for their migration. My mother comes from 15 children. She has 14 other brothers and sisters. So
Okay.
they had a big house uh, in Marion, and the house burnt down. So they had to leave and come up north. That's the only reason why they would come to, Jersey City, because they found a place that was large enough to accommodate, 15 children. You see what I'm
Okay.
saying? So, in the
Yes.
midst of everything that was going on, you if you don't know that family history, you see what I'm saying? You can find yourself in a schism in regards to your identity, thereby leaving room for an identity crisis and also leaving room
Right.
for alien possession to come in to fill that void. You see what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
now you come from a place where things were used psychologically for you to not be noticed, and it shapes your psyche. So you don't look to be noticed. You don't look to be inquisitive. You don't look to ask questions. You understand what I'm saying? Like I come
Mm-hmm.
from a household where we studied in that manner. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So going to school, then it's like you're asking too many questions, or whatever the case may be. So all of these things come along with reshaping and reframing your African psyche from your intended where you come from versus where you're at and what you're doing.
Right.
So we have to look, examine those behaviors and see, okay, are these historically our traits, our characteristics and behaviors? Are
Mm-hmm.
these the way we actualize our experience? You see what I'm saying? Or have we been hijacked and amalgamated and reassimilated back into something to where we are taking on the traits, the characteristics, and behaviors of all of our enemies.
Right.
So we're actualizing our experience from a foreign place that is an enemy to us, internally. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So yeah, I understand that, wholeheartedly in regards to, when I was 7, my mother said, ain't no, Santa Claus, ain't no Easter Bunny, ain't none of that. You understand what I'm saying?
No.
Like anything that
Okay.
come in this house, I, I give it to you. And then she gave me these books, Countering the Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys from Dr. Juanda Kunjufu at 7. You understand what I'm
Okay.
saying?
What?
So,
Okay.
already
That's
in that
good
kind of,
stuff.
lane
Mm-hmm.
where, where education was taken as a mission. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
for you to, to be one in a particular space where education and the elevation of the African mind is not celebrated. I want to know, like, what are some of the tips of the trade? How you was able to circumnavigate through that treacherous water that is that public school system, to be a Harriet Tubman. You see what I'm saying? And bringing folks out of that kind of position, even if they can't physically go, mentally, emotionally, psychologically prepare themselves for the exit strategy. Like, I'm curious to some of those tips.
So, well, I come from I come from a house of closet libraries in the closet. So always read, always read, always read. So by the time I got my bachelor's degree, I was well read and and working on my master's. And but I was well read, and I basically no one wanted to challenge me. So if they had a problem with what I was doing, they didn't want to challenge me. And I was able, because I was well read and knew the content, I was able to incorporate, because they in schools you have standards that you have to um, teach the children in terms of what's your goals and objectives of your lessons and everything. And so I was always able to incorporate the African story into those standards. So, administrators, they couldn't say anything to me because I was still doing, what I needed to do in terms of allowing the children to uh, fulfill the standards set for them. Um, and so that's basically how I was able to navigate. Is just I was well read and kept reading and was always exposing my students to the African story, and they would challenge me. So whenever something went on, and they would come and tell me about it, and it's like, oh, did you see so and so, or did you hear about this or that? Yeah, okay, so what happened, what happened to African people in reference to this? They like, well, every everything is just like, you, but I don't want to hear about it. If it ain't for me and you, like, we talking, I'm your teacher, you my student, I learn from you, you learn from me. Like, how does this affect African people? That's what I want to know. That's all I want to talk to you about, you know. And so that's the way I was able to navigate a lot and keep the children centered on who they were as African, who they are as African people. I'm still in touch with a lot of my students through media. Most of them, most of them are doing really well. They raising their families. It's a joy to see them now have families and being professionals, and taking care of themselves. It's really a joy to witness that, to be able to witness that, because I can see the fruits of my labor, so to speak. So that's pretty much how I was able to navigate that. And if I wasn't reading, I was going to lectures, I was watching videos, I was listening um to to audio tapes back then, and now I listen to it, on the internet. So I'm always looking and for information. Matter of fact, I just want to remind everyone, please, tonight at 7 o'clock is the film Happy, that's going to be shown. It's online. Here's my notes. It's online. It's called Happy, HAPI. And you go to happyfilm.com, HAPI film.com. It's tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Yes, you have to pay. It's a ticket to be bought. But please go watch that film, because it's a powerful film. It's about African people, African spirituality, and we need all the information and knowledge that we can get about African people. It's produced by African people, and African people are in it. Yes, yes, yes. Please, thank you so much. Yes, happyfilm.com at 7 p.m. Dr. Wade Nobles is going to be speaking. There are additional scholars that are going to be speaking in this film as well. This could be an excellent start for parents to you know, start right now today. Get the tickets to the film Happy. Sit there and watch it with your children and take notes and be ready for their questions because they're going to come. The questions are going to come. And I actually think that even though this pandemic has shut the schools down, this is an opportune time for us to start out to get our schools started. If we're not getting our schools started, then homeschool our children. Find a way to homeschool your children. If you go to my social media, you can see I've listed I'm EYAdjua.com, the same way my name's spelled, not .com, at Iya Adjua, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I have a list of Black homeschools and homeschool resources for parents. Take advantage of this time to educate your children, because what they were getting before was, it was for them to be minions and secondary to the children of the people who control the school systems. That's why, what they're trying to do, have the children go back to school before, even certain other institutions are open. To me, I think it's a depopulation move, you know, and people that are in control in this country and beyond are just they're greedy. They are greedy, and they do not mind expended. Black children, black people are expendable to them, you know. So everyone, please go watch that movie, happyfilm.com. Make sure you watch it. And I'd love to dialogue with you about it, after we watch it. And also those of you that are interested in my book, Acclaim, right? I have a Facebook page as well that's with Acclaim, the Acclaim book. You can get me there. The book is $20. It's $3 shipping for inside Pennsylvania. Outside of Pennsylvania, it's $8 for shipping. I love this book, of course, because I wrote it. But I love I always tell, when I know that it's a parent, I say, listen, go to the appendices, because in Appendix X, I talk about the deep well of African thought. And, so it has definitions in there. Of course, the 42 admonitions of Ma'at, the 10 comedic virtues are in here. These are starters for parents who are really serious about educating their children. You want to raise them to be African centered. These appendices are excellent. The 3 essences of humanity, of course, the Nguzo Saba, and my favorite, the age grade statements, because the age grade statements, right? The age grade statements, because no matter what, because it's from 0 to 71 and above. So when you want to expose your children to these age grade statements and get them to remember them, put them to memory, but you can do it too, and you should do it too. So when you say, okay, what's your age grade statement? Let's recite. Let me hear you recite your age grade statement. And so when they're done, or you can go first. Actually, you should go first. So it's okay. Let me recite my age grade statement. And then when I'm done, you recite yours. And so if they need more work on it, that's fine. But you're learning together, and it's so powerful. I am in the Mbuta age grade statement, so that's 41 to 70. So it's just really powerful. It's a lot of good things in the claim, and of course the Afrocentric Creed is in here, and notes on African culture, and of course African language. The Kemet, Akan, and Gregorian weekdays are in there. Um, you can do your own language with your child. Like, how sometimes to keep the child safe, Some parents have safe words and things like that. I recommend if you're doing that with your child, make it an African word, okay? When you're doing your passwords, use African language. Like, use African language as much as you can. And I highly, highly recommend that all parents get the book called African Alphabets: The Story of Writing in Africa. It's a powerful book, has a lot of information in it. They have they have African syllabaries in there, and you could teach your child, in addition to the Medu Neter script, right? You could teach your child a African script, and that could be a language that's just between you and your child, so that your children, they could write you letters, you can write them letters, they can read them to you, you can read them to them. It's just powerful. And of course, my the African language months of the year, so that to help your child to come into an idea of the concept of African time. And Shemshu Jehudi told us that there was 4,240 years of recorded African story prior to the European. And so one of the ways you can think in African time is to have, you take your Gregorian time and add 4240 to it. And that's really the year that you're born in African time. So it's a lot of ways that you can do, things that you can do to keep your child centered in who they are as an African person. I just highly recommend, first, go ahead and start with the spirituality piece, because it's so appropriate right now, because we are in a spiritual war. We've been in a spiritual war for a long time, and we need to teach our children to connect with their ancestors, as well as we need to connect with our ancestors. Whatever we want our children to do, we should do it first, set the example, and be the role model for our children. Because yes, you want them, why not be the role model for your children, instead of all these other fake and so-called minstrel entertainers out here and things, some sports players, things like that. No, you want to teach them in the ways of their ancestors, their elders, and the families that they come from that love them.
I agree. Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
Wholeheartedly. They
yes,
they took a whole part of our journey in our ancestral lineage and made a whole thing called Marvel Comic, DC Comic universe.
yes,
You
yes,
understand what I'm saying? So they
yes.
took our life's mission. They took our life's mission, our reason for reincarnation, to continue to come back to the physical world, and made something called Avengers,
Mm,
made something called Spider-Man, made something called Superman. You understand what I'm
mm,
saying? And
yes,
showed our entire existence and hid it and market it to our children. So when they think about superheroes, they think about them and not about us. You understand what I'm
exactly.
saying? So like the deep seated, what is that movie? Inception, that's there. That's
Yes,
placed,
yes, yes.
into your psychology. So when you
Mhm,
think a thought, you think you're thinking your own thought, but it was strategically placed there at a certain time. So when you vibrate, it vibrates with it. You see what I'm saying?
mhm.
In a mental parasitic type of fashion. You see?
Yes.
So when you hear Avenger, when you hear avenging your bloodline, you're here to avenge.
Yeah.
Automatically, that time that you're speaking about, it reverberates with that. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So you're thinking about
Yeah.
some 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 mutt fool you
Mm,
running around with trying to actualize. You see what I'm saying?
mhm.
Not able to tap into anything but the use of amalgamated natural instances. So I gotta have a suit. I gotta have a all of this stuff. You understand what I'm saying? And to try to mimic what you naturally do when you're naturally in your flow and you're naturally walking in this type of position. You see what I'm saying? So even down to the person in the computer to mimic the ancestral voices that are in your head. You see what I'm saying? Like that we call conscience. You like, well, something told me not to do that. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? It
Mhm.
becomes different when he's like, all right, grandma. Yeah,
Right.
I knew he wasn't nothing. Okay. All right, pops. I appreciate that. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so so these are the things where the lines get crossed and where we have to begin to, do those things. There were questions again. I want to ask one more time about, where people can get the book, one more time, and where the people can get you via social media.
So I'm Iya Adjua, so Iyaadjua on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm on Tumblr. I'm not on Tumblr that much, but and I also have a YouTube channel. Um, it's Wahemi Mesu Productions. But if you type in Iya Adjua, my YouTube channel is going to come up. My video will
Yeah,
come up. And
yes, it
you'll
will.
see. Yeah. So Iya Adjua, that's Iya and Adjua. And that's where you can contact me if you want a copy of ACCLAIM. I also have posters of it as well. And this is the model on the back. And I created the model because I was in the African Center School and it was still being controlled by Europeans, and it was identifying as an African Center School. And I understood like what that was because the state controls and the state controlled the school and everything. So that's why I'm saying now it's homeschooling or like it's homeschooling, like homeschooling and live. Let me say that homeschooling and live. Let us do that and let us get together in groups and in collectives. A lot of us are like we all of a sudden we're interested in susus now. And I don't know if you've been hearing about that, but everyone's interested in doing susus. Let's do some schools. Let's do some susu schools, okay? And good, that would be good. We teach our children to bank with each other using digital currency. Expose them to African currency. Can you imagine like our children seeing African currency? Because a lot of the African currencies had black people on them. Like that's
Right,
powerful. So to see,
right.
to see something like that. So yeah, I'm Iya Adjua everywhere on social media. You can contact me there, and if you want to leave me another message, I'm at 484-427-2096, and we could chat and talk or build. We could run ideas beside by each other, and let's do what we need to do for our African youth. The book is ACCLAIM. It's a act to claim the minds of African youth, and ACCLAIM stands for African Cultural Consciousness, Leadership, Awareness, Instructional Model.
Okay. Last thing I wanted you to kind of talk about is you have a couple of events coming up that you're going to be a part of. So can you kind of let people know, give like a little small sample of what you're going to be talking about and how they can participate in those events?
So I just gave you the sample because that's what I'm going to be talking about in the in the 100. What I want to say it right. The 100 years is. Oh my goodness. Let
Yes.
me get it right. You right? 100 years in the whirlwind. Right. Shout out to Marcus Garvey and the Soul Dad brothers and all our warriors and their women, right? Who helped them to be the warriors that they became. So yeah, I'm honored to be a part of 100 years in the whirlwind. I hope I'm saying it right. Am I saying it right, brother? Because I'm doing the work now and doing the research now and putting it together. And so I don't know what time or which day I'm going to be on, but it's August 14th through the 16th, right? And so I will be on one of those days and times. I don't know when the brother is going to release like a schedule. Um, but yeah, I will be talking about African spirituality and centering African children in who they are as warriors and carriers of powerful traditional, uh, powerful and surviving African legacy. Oh, I think we lost the brother. I lost you for a minute.
Yes, Mama. I got cut off at the end. Yes, that is.
Okay.
Yeah, this internet connection pretty bad out here, but we just navigating through it. So yes,
Yes.
that is correct.
So yeah, and but thank you, brother Kuji Chagalia, alias alias Kuji Chagalia, who invited me to be a part of this honoring 100 years of the red, black, and green, right? And
Right.
we are a nation within a nation. We have our own flag, and we definitely have stories uh, to support our existence as African people in this part of the world. And thankfully, we're everywhere. African people are everywhere. I used to love to do that part too, like expose the children to, being African people everywhere. You know, they would be shocked and stuff like that. But it's good. It's good. It's always good to share and know who we are as African people, because that's going to help us continue African legacies. And one of the ways we do that is through African spirituality. We have to connect with our ancestors.
Well, I'm definitely thankful for the time that you took. I know we went over what we
Yeah.
agreed to, but once you once you start flowing,
So good.
how it goes. I'm definitely
Yes.
thankful for the extra time and for you to make things very, very plain and palatable for our listening audience, and definitely looking forward to hearing you in the coming weeks to continue to reorient us back to our African mind and our African
Yeah.
reality. So
Yes. Yes. That's something we need. Hotel.
most definitely.
Okay, brother. Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it. Oh,
All right.
okay. How are you? What's up?
Everybody. Hey, I have a question. Can y'all hear me? Am I muted?
It's poppy.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, it's
Can you hear
choppy
me?
a little bit, like
Okay. Is it
how
better?
you was multitasking. He watching that complimentary conference that I'm supposed to be watching right now. You understand what I'm
Oh
saying? So he double
yeah.
dipping over
Oh
here in his African power over here. You understand? I
yeah.
know Baba's voice. You understand? I know Baba's voice. So he double dipping
Yeah. I gotta
over here.
turn it on
He
too.
multitasking in his
Yeah.
synaptic.
Yeah.
I was. Peace and Black Power, family. How's everybody doing?
What's up? How are you?
Hey, it's good to finally meet you face to
I
face.
know. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
hearing you, talk to the people, I'm very excited and I'm glad that
Yes,
you joined on to do this collective work.
I am too, and I'm honored to also be. Um, I don't know what the schedule is, but Empress Philae Chioniso. So honored to also be a part of the 100 years in the Whirlwind celebration with her, and hopefully Dr. Archie will come on board as well. So
Well,
yes,
I did reach out to both and help me say it right, Dr. Filet.
yes,
Okay, so I spoke to Dr. Filet and she was all in. Actually, I got to reconnect with her. So I've just been so busy this whole week.
yeah,
But Dr. Richie, did I say it right?
Archie.
Archie. I spoke with her, but she was like, I don't know, young fella. I don't know
Okay.
too much about your tour. So, but I, like I said, I think that we have
You're gonna
assembled.
need an African assist, mama. You're gonna need an African assist.
Okay.
You know,
Okay. I'll work on it. I'm gonna see her tomorrow. Yeah.
and I sincerely appreciate that because just like
Sure.
I think that we have assembled, some Avengers that's going to come and rectify some change. And like one of the things that I've been saying about the 100 years in a whirlwind, I think it's twofold. It's a twofold purpose. We're coming to teach. We're
Mhm.
going to open a toolkit. You can go in and get these things that you can use that are refined that will
Yeah.
help you move forward and deal in the Urugu hinterlands, as
Mhm.
you mentioned. And I'm sorry, that's Brother Bomani calling me right there. Um,
Okay.
and also, what we have to do, um, Doc, is we have to find a way to keep all of us together. And everybody keep doing what it is that they're doing.
Mhm.
'Cause we do
Mhm.
well doing that, but we have to
Yeah.
find a way to house this, to house
Mhm.
all of this information. We have to create our own house of life. You know,
Yes. Yes.
house of life that the people can readily come to, so they can find these things. Because I think what happens is that we're so splintered. You're in PA. You know,
Mhm.
you know, brother Knowledge Born Allah, he's in Jersey. Brother Bomani, he's in Canada. Baba
Right.
Rudy was there in Atlanta. So we're all over the place. And what happens
Yeah.
is, understand that, we are a real united front out here and we're waging war. We're unapologetically African. And, you
Yes.
know, the push is for us to, you know, one day achieve sovereign liberation. And
Yes.
so,
Yeah.
that's what this is about. So I'm glad, I really appreciate Brother Knowledge Born. I want to say thank you again, for opening up your platform and allowing us to come and to share and to let people know that this exists. You
Yeah.
don't understand, what you have done for us, by doing that. And, I want to extend, a sincere thank you to you again. Madasi Pa.
Yes. Yes. I say pie. Yes. Powerful.
Wouldn't be much of an African if I didn't allow African people on this African centered platform.
Okay. That's right.
I would have to go to the shop and get my Africanness recalibrated.
I know that's
But you would be
right.
surprised. You would be surprised how there's a lot of false flaggers, amongst us. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that this conference, and it's not just this one. It's the wealth of conferences that's going to happen from the end of this month. Over the course of August, you're going to see people who really understand what character is,
Yeah.
and that's how we're going to vet. Those who come in and come amongst us and want to stand in
Uh-huh.
front of us and call themselves teachers. If your character not right and you're not clear, then you got to go, no matter how articulate you are. No matter how many times you've been to Kemet, and you know,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
character has to be solid. You have to, your thoughts, words, and deeds have to line up. And I,
Uh-huh.
and I sincerely know that we have built that, with the Asafos and Janak that we have collected to lead the workshop.
Yes. Yeah, I'm so excited. So give me a update, brother, when you get a chance. The schedule, um, you know, um, the link to where I need to be, or because I'm still undecided. But we'll talk. We'll talk. I don't want to talk about it here. We'll talk, and I'll give you an update, and you can give me an update as well.
Yes, ma'am. I
Yeah,
will sincerely do that.
yeah. Okay, brothers, I have to go. It's been really good speaking with both of you, and Asante Sana, thank you so much for allowing me to speak and share on your platform.
Don't be a stranger, mama. You know you always welcome here. This is the African place for African people only. So you ain't got to worry about any of that.
All right, brothers, have a good day, good evening. Everyone watch that happyfilm.com. Make sure you watch it. 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. A baby for Hodia, everybody.
Baby for Odia.
Brother Knowledge Born. I'm finna jump off and run back to complimentary. All right, brother.
Hey, well, just give them a quick little rundown real quick before you go. You know what I'm saying? Kind of orient them real quick before you go. That's why I wanted you on real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because we got to shut this down. I need to catch up with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. So like if we still, we need the tickets are coming in. People are highly interested in this 100 years of running. If you are interested, please go over to www.dtc1.org. That is D as in David, T as in Tom, C as in Charles, number1.org. You can find the admission there. This is the last day for the early bird special at $25. This is the last day for the Supreme African package, which includes the early bird special price. And also you'll get the latest African Vanguard project, which is Harriet Shotgun, featuring Doc Mockty and University Avenue, which will be released 8/14/20, and we're going to have a listening party, which I believe, Brother Knowledge Born Allah, you will be, on the ones and twos and working that out for the people.
Yeah.
Come over. This week, one thing we're going to start doing is highlighting all of our speakers. We want to get everybody acquainted. Our speaker page will be up by tomorrow. We want everybody to become acquainted with the teachers who are going to be, delivering the message. Because at this point, when they get ready to do that thing, I'm gonna fade to black, and I'm gonna let them do their work. This is, again, not about me. It's not about Brother Bomani. It's about us. It's about understanding that we must pick up that shield, pick up that spear, and forward has to be our motion. This is an opportunity to understand that this is history, and we're writing that history. Centennials don't even, we keep saying it happens once in a lifetime, but it doesn't, because the life expectancy of Africans here in America is not 100 years. So the fact that we have an opportunity to celebrate this, to pay homage to it, to understand that there was a blueprint given us, and we've had the wherewithal to try our best to actualize those things, that was given to us in 1920, August 7th, in New York City, New York, by the Most Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I think that he would be honored and pleased that we are paying homage, but he wants us to continue to work. And that's what this is all about, the collective work for our people, so they can see, they can observe, and they can participate in, so they can learn and continue the flow and motion of re-Africanization for African people globally.
All right. So we got our marching orders. We got the website up, www.dtc1.org. Get your tickets. Last day for the early bird special in the Supreme African package. Okay? So you better orient yourself properly and get your purchases in, get your tickets in. Y'all got a little morsel of what's going to happen, and we're going to continue to do this all the way up to, our African Day. You see what I'm saying? So we're going to schedule as many speakers as we can between this platform and the Instagram Live platform. So Make sure. Can you shout that out real quick so they can go subscribe to the joint real quick?
Instagram is 100 years and 100 years in a whirlwind. At 100 years in a whirlwind. Everything is at 100 years in a whirlwind. The Facebook page, the Instagram page, the Twitter page. It's 100 years in a whirlwind because we wrapped up in it. We wrapped up in that red, that black, and that green.
Right. All right. Well, we out of here. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate you, brother. Like I said,
shout out to UFG in the chat.
That's right. Make Garvey proud, and I think that's what we're about to do.
All right, be Mosiah, be to me. Right. Thank everybody who listened, came through. Let me go through these comments real quick. Let's see. Robert, Kim Ra, B. Mosiah, Urban Shamans Productions, Brother Kamua. Let's see. JC, greetings to you, family. Queen Goddess Synergy, I think that's right. I shade to you, sis. My sister, K Fighter, Keisha Hopkins Forrester, Brooklyn Zone. Shout out to you. B40, to me. We got some serious warriors up in here. But listen, not. Thank you. Empress Chi, thank you. That came through. Make sure y'all go at. Put that up there real quick. 100 years in the whirlwind on everything. Let's get activated, motivated.
As my son say, we ready, we ready.
All right, y'all. Peace and black power.
Baby for Hodier.
Be Mosiah.
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them that in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? So no more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a. Let's get back to the
motive is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.